All right. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today on our webinar this morning, afternoon, wherever it is you're tuning in from. That was just a quick introductory video of Atmosphere Press for you. And today on our free live event, we will be discussing The Year Your Book Comes to Life, a talk and Q&A with Dr. Trista Edwards. So, in this event, you'll learn how you can make your book a reality in 2025. Dr. Edwards is going to walk you through how to bring that book idea to life that you've been pondering in your head, submit it for publication, and craft the perfect pitch so you can land a publication deal. You're also going to have the opportunity for Dr. Edwards to answer your own questions during the Q&A portion of the event. So at any time, please do use the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen to send in your questions. You can also check the Answered tab in the Q&A box to see answers to questions that have already been posed. We want to tailor your author experience to you so you can feel proud of your finally published book. This is what we're all about here at Atmosphere. Founded in 2015 by Nick Courtwright, an author and a Ph.D. in literature, Atmosphere Press is the only publisher who puts rewarding and meaningful author experiences above all else. We've published more than 1,200 books. Our authors have won dozens of awards, and our books have reached the hands of tens of thousands of readers. You can visit atmospherepress.com to learn more about how you can have a rewarding and meaningful author experience of your own, as well as to submit your manuscript for review. And if you mention this event in the first line of your cover letter, we'll be sure to expedite the review process for your submission. With that, I'm thrilled to introduce our guest speaker. Dr. Trista Edwards, she, her, holds a Ph.D. in creative writing from the University of North Texas, as well as an MA and BA from the University of West Georgia. She's the author of Spectral Evidence from April Gloaming Press 2020 and the editor of Till the Tide, an Anthology of Mermaid Poetry from Sundress Publications 2015. Her poems have appeared in Ligeia Magazine, Flapperhouse, Dream Pop Press, Southeast Review, the Adroit Journal, White Stag, Lover's Eye Press, and more. Trista now lives in Hiram, Georgia with her husband, son, and 2 pups. When she's not talking about books, she can be found working on her various miniature dollhouses or making candles. You can read more of her writing on her website. That's www.tristaedwards.com. But now, Trista, take it away.
Hey. Thank you, Hala. Welcome, fellow writers. It's fantastic to be here with you today, and it's exciting to know so many of you are eagerly ready to dive into the exciting world of publishing. You should be excited. It's exciting. I know many of you have poured your heart and soul into your manuscripts, the dedication, the late nights, the unwavering determination. You've brought your characters to life, you've woven intricate plots, you've polished each sentence and line of poetry with care, but now you're nearing the finish line and, maybe the doubts are starting to creep in. Is it good enough? Will anyone connect with it? How will I even begin to navigate the publishing world? And you're not alone. These are all common questions, and it's okay to feel uncertain. Every writer from novice to bestsellers, experiencing these fears. But here's the truth, your story has value and the world is waiting to hear it. So, that brings you here today. You're here today because you're ready to take that next step. You're ready to move from uncertainty to confidence and control. So you deserve a publishing experience that respects your creative vision. So first things first, you got to finish the manuscript. Easy, right? You got to finish it. Very easy. You got to believe in yourself and your story. I feel like that's the number one motivator to getting that first draft finished. You have to believe in it, the story, you have to believe in yourself, you have to believe in your poems. You've come this far, so don't let those doubts hold you back. So, set aside some dedicated writing time, even if it's just for 30 minutes a day. I am a mom. I have two little kids. I understand time is tight, but 30 minutes every day, it can go a long way. You could find a writing community or a critique partner to keep you accountable and motivated. Um, I thrive off of having that, and I know a lot of people do too. So always remember, and believe me, I have to tell myself this too, that done is better than perfect. So remember that done is better than perfect. Getting that first draft done, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be complete. And complete doesn't mean perfect either. So when it is time to finally pitch your book to publishers, I think here's some ways that you can really make that pitch stand out. Um, it's really important to do your homework. I think you need to research, prospective publishers thoroughly, understanding their missions, their values, the types of books that they publish. Browse their catalog, familiarize yourself with their authors. This shows that you're genuinely interested in working with that publisher, but they're the right publisher for you, the right publisher for your work. Um, Know your target audience. Who is your ideal reader for your book? Be prepared to articulate this when you're crafting your pitch. Um, Craft a compelling query letter or cover letter, depending on the requirements. You want to hook the reader immediately. Your opening lines should grab your editor's attention. It should make that person want to learn more about your book. If it's fiction or nonfiction, focus on the story. Provide a concise and engaging synopsis of your book. Highlight the unique elements that really make it stand out. And emphasize your author brand. If you have one, and we'll talk about kind of cultivating one later on. If you don't, this briefly showcases your personality, your writing style, and your platform, again, if you have one. So what makes you the perfect person to tell this story? And keep it concise and professional, keeping your query or your cover letter to the point and free of errors, it, again, goes a long way. So, for example, at Atmosphere Press, we really champion hybrid publishing, which is just one of the many paths to publishing. Hybrid publishing really presents a rewarding path where you're collaborating with your publisher who, values your input and gives you creative control. So hybrid publishing is a model that combines the best of both worlds, providing the expertise and the resources of a traditional publisher while ensuring that you retain control over key aspects of your book. Such things like editing, you're going to work closely with experienced editors who are going to help you refine your manuscript while preserving your unique voice. Cover design. You're going to collaborate with talented designers to create a cover that captures the essence of your story. And marketing and promotion. So there's, comprehensive marketing strategies to really help reach a wider audience, to get your book into your readers' hands. So in this regard, you're not just an author, but you're a partner in bringing your book to life. So as you embark on your publishing journey, it's also essential to think about cultivating your author brand. Think of this as a unique fingerprint in the literary world. It's how readers recognize and connect with you. It's about showcasing your authentic self, your values, your creative vision. In today's crowded marketplace, a strong author brand is really more important than ever. So it helps you stand out from the crowd, connect to your ideal readers, and build a loyal following. So you put one book out and then those people are hooked, and then you got your second book and they're like, oh, like, they're primed for it. They're ready. They're excited. They love you as an author. And so they're ready to hear what stories, you have next. So here's why, your author branding is so crucial. It helps build recognition. It's a consistent brand that helps readers easily identify you and remember you and your work. It establishes trust. So strong brand communicates your professional, your commitment to quality, building trust with all of your potential readers. I think this one's one of the most important. It creates connection. So you're sharing your values and your personality, which helps kind of forge those larger connections with your audience. It increases your visibility. Well-defined brand makes it easier for readers to find you online and discover your books. And of course, it could boost sales. Ultimately, a strong author brand can translate into increased book sales, and a thriving writing career. So, crafting your compelling author brand involves identifying what makes your voice unique and what themes you're passionate about and what kind of readers you want to connect with. So, think about what sets you apart, your background, your experiences, your perspective, and, what are you passionate about? What kinds of stories do you want to tell? This is where you'll create your brand and vision for yourself. I mean, in today's digital age, it's really essential to have an accessible platform where readers can find you and learn more about your work. Um, doesn't have to necessarily be social media. It could be an author website, a landing page, or even email newsletters. So a lot of people that I speak with, a lot of authors, can get a little overwhelmed with this. I understand like they don't like to engage a lot online, they're a little overwhelmed by it. It's maybe not something they're necessarily comfortable with putting themselves out there online. So don't worry. I always say there are many ways to build a successful author brand and to get your story and your voice out there. You don't have to become a social media expert. So, I mean, you could consider focusing on traditional media, local newspapers, radio stations, magazines, offer to do interviews, write guest articles. A big one, network with local bookstores and libraries. Building relationships with your local bookstores and libraries, I think, is key, and it's incredibly valuable. Offer to do book signings or readings or workshops. It's just really great to have a relationship with your local bookstores because, having that relationship is, I think really important when asking them to stock your book. Join writing groups and organizations. Connecting with other writers is a really fantastic way to learn, grow, build your network. Many writing organizations offer opportunities for members to promote their work, so you're connecting with already, like-minded people. Public speaking engagements, even if you're comfortable with speaking in public, consider offering workshops or presentations at schools, community events. This can really help establish yourself as an expert in your field and what you're writing about and what you care about, and you're connecting with potential readers that way. And you can always build an email list. So even if you don't have a website or if you don't have a social media presence, you can build an email list to stay in touch with your readers and promote your work. You can collect email addresses at events or through word of mouth, through friends, family, even offer a free sample of your writing. And then kind of get people interested in what you're doing, and then you can connect with them through email. So it is really important to remember that publication is a journey and not a race. So it's about finding strategies that feel authentic and comfortable for you. That's really important. So, when you're ready to embark on this credible adventure, you want to take your dream from the manuscript to the published book and connect with readers and share your story because your story deserves to be told. Um, and with that, I will say thank you all for being here with me today. Yeah, and tell me what publishing details, what part of the publishing journey are you curious about today?
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing all of those insights, Trista, and a lot of really actionable points, which I know a lot of authors are kind of grasping for, especially not only before they submit their manuscript, but also after the book is published and what to do at that point. But yeah, like you said, this is a great time to pivot to our audience Q&A, so we have some time for that. Again, if you have a question for Trista, specific to your case or maybe just more generally related to authorship, please go ahead and type those questions in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, and we're going to do our best to get to as many as we can. We've got a number already, so to jump right in, this first question, Trista, is how do I know if my book idea is worth publishing?
Well, I think it really goes back to believing in it. Do you believe in it? Are you excited about it? If you're excited about your own work, that guarantees other people are going to be excited about it as well. You have that audience. Are there other books out there that are kind of in the same realm, talking about the same things? Um, then it's worth it. If you're excited about it, other people are excited about it too. They're out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is such a needed boost to the self-confidence that is really hard as an artist to find. So I love that way of looking at it. This next question, what do your editors want to see in a manuscript before they start working on it? And how much editing help are authors going to get, at least from Atmosphere?
That's a good question. I'll go back to that, done is better than perfect. So having a manuscript that is, done, complete, but it doesn't have to be perfect, particularly at Atmosphere, that is what your editor is going to help you with, is going to assist you with, they're going to be there to help your manuscript become the best version of itself. So, it doesn't have to be perfect and polished. I mean, as close as you can get, is wonderful, but you don't have to get hung up on it just being, like sh the shining golden star of perfect. You just need to make sure that you've put all your all into it and that it is, as complete as it can be, and will help you give it that shine.
Absolutely. Yeah, waiting until there's more input and a new angle and being confident up until that point at the very least. A related question, what do I do then if I disagree with what my editor is saying?
Yeah, that can be a tough one, for sure. Particularly at Atmosphere. You know, we don't have an editorial mandate. So when you're working with your developmental editor, they're always there to, give you their expert advice and feedback. And like I said, make the manuscript become the best version of itself. But I've worked with people where they've, pushed back against my feedback. And, I always say, go with your gut, go with your intuition. You don't have to agree with me. So this is your book, this is your voice, this is your vision. I'm not here to try and make it mine as your editor. So, there's a lot of space, I say, for discussion. Like I said, particularly when you're working with Atmosphere Press, to, talk about, you know, the concerns of your book. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I like this kind of framing it as a conversation. It's not supposed to be like a total power imbalance, right? Especially when we're talking about someone's creative output. This next question is, I have some ideas for the cover design for my book. How much do publishers listen to author input on cover design?
Well, on cover design, I think again, when you're researching which path to publishing you want to take, if the cover is super important to you, that's something to really consider when you're doing your research. Typically, with traditional publishing, you're signing a contract, which more often than not means you're kind of signing away some creative control. So typically those, with traditional publishing, they are kind of determining what that cover is. And sometimes they'll, have meetings and take your input or your ideas or, kind of brainstorm with you. And sometimes they don't. And so you kind of get the cover that they determine is the best. For whether that's coming down to marketing, usually. With self-publishing, of course, you can choose your own cover with hybrid publishing. So like at Atmosphere, you are definitely have a lot of input into your cover. We will never go to print with a cover that you don't approve of. So you're, kind of brainstorming with our art director. They want input, they want ideas, they want examples of what you want your book to look like. Those aesthetics are important, not just to the reader, but to you. So, I always hear from the authors we work with that that's one of their favorite parts of the whole process is working with Ronaldo, our art director, and kind of brainstorming the cover and him giving feedback. And then, ultimately, it comes down to they, build a cover that kind of fits your vision. And, you get to work with them to collaborate that vision.
Yeah, I love that question, particularly because I know that's so important to so many authors. So thank you for those insights. This next question, should I try to get an agent or should I just hybrid publish? Slash, can you talk about the pros and cons of hybrid publishing?
Ooh, yeah, that's a big question.
It's meaty, yeah.
Yeah. Agents, are great. The timeline of, getting an agent, finding one that's the right fit for you, that agent then, putting your book out, in submission to other presses, it's wonderful. Again, it's all like, what do you want? What is best for you? What do you need? That is a very kind of lengthy process. I hear back from a lot of colleagues who have an agent who their books are out on submission. It's long. You have to be emotionally, I think, prepared for that. Having an agent doesn't necessarily get you any guarantees. Um, so, they're great. They're great to advocate for you, but the timeline, I think, is a little bit longer. Um, I always say, considering hybrid publishing, again, it comes down to what are your desires? What are your wants? What are your goals? Are you wanting to have a little bit more control, not just creatively or over the content of your book, but a little bit more control over the timeline in which, you have that book in your hands? Hybrid publishing, moves um, quite a bit quicker than traditional publishing. So, you're not having to kind of wait in the, hang in the rafters, so to speak, of like what's happening. Um, there was a second part to that question. I'm sorry, what was it?
Yeah, no worries. If you could talk about the pros and cons of hybrid publishing.
Yeah, so, a big one, of course, is always the, financial investment. You are financially investing in your book and in yourself and in your project with hybrid publishing. So that is really kind of one of the ones I hear a lot of authors, one of their major concerns, understandably so. Um, but I think, the pros are so many. There's, creative control there, when it comes to content, when it comes to the cover, having the rights to your work, to your characters, not having to wait 2 years until your book comes out. Um, it's just much more you have much more control over the process and you don't have to wait in a lot of, uncertainty or long timelines. So that is always a big one. And that's what I hear feedback from a lot of authors is that they've found us at Atmosphere and they turn to us because they are looking to have a little bit more control over the process of their art.
Absolutely. I think that control element, and it keeps coming up, but with that power balance and what that looks like is so important. Um, this next question is related. Why should I publish with Atmosphere versus another hybrid publisher?
I do get this question a lot when I am talking to authors. And I mean, obviously I'm biased, but I think we have a great group of people who you would be working with. So everything is very transparent. We're, very big on communication. So, we're here to support you and it's very collaborative. So you are kind of working intimately with, your editor, having kind of one-on-one meetings. So, we're people. And we're excited about what you're doing and we want to help it become the best version of itself. And, I tell authors again and again, like, we're going to help you um, make a great book. At the end of the day, you're going to have that book in your hands. It's going to look good. The cover is going to be beautiful. But in addition to that, I think that we want to make sure that you have a rewarding journey. We want to make sure that the making of this book with us was just as rewarding, as holding that book itself. So, we're just a very supportive team and wanting to help you, achieve those goals.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Trista. This next question is, what are your top 3 to 5 tips to succeed as a first-time author?
Hmm. Okay. The first thing that popped into my head was, you know, you, like I said, I'm going to keep harping on this. Done is better than perfect. You have to have that manuscript done. So, believing in yourself, following that dream, get that book down, get it down. Um, And another big one, I really do think is research. When it comes time to getting that book published, make sure that the places that you are sending it to, are right for what you want, are right for your book, are right for your audience. So, don't just kind of blindly, send out your book. Make sure that you're, sending it to, the right places for that book. And then third, like I said, remember it's a journey, not a race. Don't set any try not to set, any expectations on yourself that, hearing no means that nobody likes your story or that you're a failure. Keep going, keep submitting, keep writing. Don't give up. It is a journey. It is not a race. So, believe in yourself and just keep slogging away.
Absolutely. Journey is definitely, it's a marathon, not a race. And I hear that all the time from all over the publishing industry. So I think that's a great one to reiterate. This next question is, I'm worried about book promotion since I'm not very extroverted and I'm not on social media. What should I do?
Yeah, that is a big one. I hear from a lot of authors too. They don't like to really put themselves out on social media. They don't really have social media. It's not really, an area of their life where they put a lot of time and energy. So you don't, if you're introverted, you don't have to. That's not gonna, I think, make or break you or your book or yourself as an author. It's just one of many tools that are out there. Um, but yeah, like I mentioned, I think, staying local, looking in your close proximity when it comes to promoting. And, you don't even have to go to libraries or schools or do big, speaking engagements even at those places. Start small, start with friends, start with family. Hey, can you share my book, on your social media or just sending out a family email chain and, telling them about your writing, telling them about your book, start small. And then, more connections may start to, unfold from there. But don't be afraid to talk about your book, your writing. Nobody can read about it if you don't tell them about it, so start with friends, start with family, they're your readers too, and they're your supporters.
Yes, definitely. Always a good idea to utilize the support network. This next question is, do authors keep their rights when they publish with Atmosphere or with hybrid publishers?
Yeah, with Atmosphere, yes, you definitely keep 100% rights to your work, um, which is big, when you want to maybe, um, republish something in an anthology or excerpt a part of your book and have it republished elsewhere. Children's authors, books of authors of children's books. This is a big one that is usually a concern that I talk to a lot of people about because sometimes with their characters, they're thinking of them living beyond the page, living beyond the book. I've talked to people that are like, yeah, I want to develop this into like a little like YouTube series or a web series, or oh, I'm thinking, they are active in their local theater, and I'm thinking of turning this into a stage production. So that's, big because we don't own your characters or your work. So, I mean, you are free to do with it what you will. And we champion that, and we're really excited to see, that creativity, keep growing.
Yes, definitely. The rights thing is so critical. So it's a good one to note. This next question is, how do I write a good cover letter to maximize my chances of landing a publication contract? I think you
So,
touched on this a little bit earlier, but just expand on.
yeah, yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely important and always worth, touching back on. Writing a good cover letter, people people tend to get anxious about it, but I think, really just keep it brief, concise, make sure it's clean and polished, and you really just want to hook the editor who's reading it right away. Let them know why your story is important. Let them know what the emotions are that are at play. If it's, for fiction, for example, what's your character's internal struggle? Why should we care about them? Put that immediately. Make us feel like what you're writing and understand, what's important, and be excited about it, even in your letter. I think um, that's a big one, that excitement it radiates. If you're not excited about your story, then why should someone else be? We can kind of pick up on that. Um, Keeping it brief and concise too is a big one. You don't have to de give every detail of your book. It doesn't have to be 5 pages long. Just keep it short, sweet, to the point, get to why your story matters, why your voice matters. If you're writing about something timely, bring that up. Like, hey, this book is timely now because of, X, Y, Z. All those things really, they matter, and, the editors reading these, take note. So.
Yeah, it goes back to that first question about how do I know if my book idea is worth publishing? And that excitement really comes through the first time in that cover letter. So it's so critical to lead with that. This next question, I don't have money to publish. What else does Atmosphere do?
We have a lot of great resources on the website. So I really recommend starting there, looking at there's tips and other writers' stories. I don't know about you, but I get a lot from those. I get a lot from reading um testimonials, other people's journeys. How did they do it? Where did they start? What worked for them? We have a lot of authors that we've published who have shared their experiences, and it's, all on our website. And I think that's a great place to start, with that resource. In addition to that, if you need a little boost in your motivation. Hearing other authors get excited about, publishing in their books. I think it's infectious. It is for me. So, yeah, just peruse the website. tons of great resources, what we can help you with, what we can offer. Um, yeah, just, hearing other authors' voices.
Yes, absolutely. And one final question for you. We have little time left, so this last question is, if someone wants to take the next step with their manuscript, whether they're completely new to publishing or to Atmosphere, or they've already been offered a contract by a publisher, what should they do next?
So, if you're interested in submitting to Atmosphere, I mean, we're definitely excited to read what you've got and, hear what you're working on. You can find the, submission portal on the website. So, you know, send it. Let us see it. And then, you can schedule, a phone call with, myself or, one of the other editors, and we can talk about it. If you have anxieties about publishing or your story, sometimes it's best to get them out and say them out loud and have, a professional give you some feedback and that's tremendously valuable and helpful. So, take that step, take that brave step and submit it.
Yes, I think that's really what it comes down to. That final key thing is just being confident with it and pressing forward. So at this time, I know we've kind of gone a little bit over time, so I just want to say, although that's all the time we have for questions today, if you have a question that wasn't answered, please do check out Atmosphere Press's YouTube channel because we've got previous live sessions with publishing professionals, including Trista as well as others. And you can check all those out for other answers to questions that might be similar to yours. But with that being said, also want to say thank you so much to Dr. Trista Edwards for being here with us, for sharing your experience, your time, your wisdom with us. Thank you to everybody in the audience for joining as well and for posing these really thoughtful questions to us. If you are a writer looking for a rewarding and meaningful publishing experience, I put those links in the chat for everybody one more time. So check those out. Visit us at atmospherepress.com. On our website, you can sign up for our email newsletter. You can browse our new and forthcoming releases to get a sense of what it is that we do publish. You can meet the humans behind Atmosphere Press, check out our testimonials from our published authors, and of course, submit your manuscript. Remember that if you mention this event in the first line of your cover letter, we will expedite the review process for your submission. So we look forward to staying in touch with all of you. And on behalf of Atmosphere Press, have a great rest of your week, everyone.